welcome to this month's Cigar Professor Life Earth show. And as you can see, I am in charge. I am running the show. I am in control. I am the master of tonight's universe. It seems to be that Topher has bailed on us yet again. But as the show unfolds, I will release gruesome and absolutely shocking information about what's going on with Topher over the course of the show. But we're not sure whether Omar's going to join us tonight because he hasn't yet showed up. He hasn't yet missed a single show in the whole history of Cigar Professor. So maybe tonight will be the first one, or maybe he'll just be late as usual. I've learned that there is a new definition of time. There is what is the time, and then there is Omar's time. And Omar's time is pretty much any time he feels like it. But, of course, you do not want to listen to me doing a monologue for the next who knows however long. And also, if we have Omar on the show with me, you know how we can't shut him up and he never says anything. So I thought that it would probably be best to bring someone on. And so someone who's been on the show with us before, a man who is not scared of being a man and loves his cigars, and always looks the part and takes after me by wearing something on his noggin. I'd like to introduce Mr. Stu.
Greetings. Thank you very much. What a lovely introduction. I'm hanging out to find out the goss about Mr. Topher.
Oh, look, I am going to relish tonight because I am just so over all of his shall we call it shenanigans or antics? So, look, he's a closet lefty. That's all I can say. You know, he puts this right-wing conservative libertarian perspective across on social media, but behind the screens, he's just one of these whinging woke crybabies. But look, joining us, we've got Udo on the show joining us tonight. Evening, Udo. It's great to see you in on the show again tonight. And Tim. Hi, Tim. Thanks for joining us. Well, look, I know there's a little bit of water under the bridge between you two, so I'll let that banter carry on between the two of you as the night progresses.
Yes, we're blessed to not have the Topher, right. But you've got to put up with me.
That's right. There is no Topher tonight, and I will explain as we go on. Hi, Dan. Thank you for joining us tonight.
I'll fly his flag, though.
Peter, thanks for joining us. Look, as I put in the post for the video tonight, and also in the little flyer that went out with the cigars, this is an all Perdomo pack. It's been a little while since I have done that, and yes, I'm crawling on hands and knees back to Uncle Nick into Camp Perdomo again after my little fling with Steve Saka and Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. And just to show that I am flying the colours, I'm wearing my Perdomo cigar hoodie, and on top of that, to show my real colours, I'm wearing my Perdomo Army t-shirt. I won't show you my Perdomo Army underwear, but rest assured, everything with me tonight is Perdomo. So tonight's stick. This stick is their Habano Bourbon Barrel Aged cigar line. They, in all of their lines, whether it be the 10th anniversary, the 20th anniversary, the 30th, the new legacy, or the Bourbon Barrel Aged, they usually do 3 cigars. They do a Connecticut, a sun-grown, and a Maduro, so that everyone will find a cigar in each of their product lines that suits their palate. So tonight we're doing the Connecticut. Now, we did do this Connecticut about 2 years ago, and it was this exact batch that we did 2 years ago. So this cigar, the tobacco is aged for about 6 years before they produce the cigar, and it's bourbon barrel aged for about another 8 months. Given the time frame when I purchased it, received it, stored it before we released it, and we released it about 2 years ago, there is probably somewhere in the vicinity of around about 9 to 10 years of age on this cigar. Now, unfortunately, the other 2 cigars in the rest of the pack don't have that amount of age on it, but it will be interesting to see what age has done with this cigar tonight. So trying to keep all things Perdomo. I'm going to use my Perdomo Perfect Cutter, which unfortunately they don't make anymore. They may re-release it down the track, but they've gone down the path of using Cigar guillotine cutters at the moment, which have been Perdomo branded, and they're actually doing 3 colors. They're doing a gold, a red, and a blue to match the colors that they're using for the Connecticut's, the Maduros, and the Sun-Grown. So the Connecticut's always got a gold band in the Perdomo line. The Sun-Growns have a red band, and the Maduros have a blue band. So they're releasing, that style of cutter to sort of, complement their branding. As always with Perdomo, nice easy draw. And interesting cold note on that, a cold draw note on that. Can't quite pick it.
It's not punchy, is it?
It's got a little bit of a sour, maybe a little bit sourness there. It's definitely got a grassy, little bit barnyard-like taste on that draw, but just a little bit of sourness in there as well. Anyway, I'm going to use the Perdomo Jet Lighter. Now, I know that we've always got new people joining the show. Evening, Tony. Thank you for joining us. And there you go, Stu. Tim's asking if it's snowing up your way.
Yes, it has been. It's snowed on and off a couple of times today in between the hail, the rain, and the sunshine. We've got it all happening. All
right. So for those who are a bit new to cigars that are joining us and just want a refresher on toasting a cigar, this jet lighter is putting out a jet flame that's probably about as thick as my thumb, or as tall as the thickness of my thumb. But as you can see, I'm actually holding it a lot further away than that. And it's actually the heat coming off the tip, almost like the hot air jet coming out of the cigar lighter that's actually toasting the cigar. And that's what I'm actually using, just to gently warm it up. The more gently that you warm up a cigar and light it, the less harsh the initial flavors are upon the first few draws. So you get a really nice, pleasant taste right from the lighter. Oh,
bit of toast.
That first one, I've got baked spice, leather, sort of graham cracker, and caramel. And look, as we were talking before, there are 2 types of time in this world. There is normal time that everybody recognizes, and then there is another time factor called Omar time. And well, I was right. Omar turns up in Omar time. Evening, Omar. How are you, cowboy?
I'm really good. What kind of answer you want to this comment? A good one or the serious one?
Can't say the comment.
Surprise me.
well, if I was you, I'll be very careful what I say about my timing, because the only motherfucker I ever attended this show for the past, 100 years from overseas, from people's wedding is me. So be fucking very careful, goddammit, because I'm going to blow your head off next time you say that. That's number 1. And number 2, the only man who smokes more cigar that you ever had in your whole entire life. So be gentle with me, baby. I love you too. How are you, boys? I'm just joking.
Good.
I'm good.
Still, you're looking great, man. Damo, you're looking. Oh, everyone's wearing hat tonight.
Yeah.
I know it's a great show, and look, our viewings are higher than ever. Look, it just proves one thing: when Topher is on the show, the ratings drop every single time. The ratings drop.
Things
And
get better.
There's a couple of our regular viewers who are not currently about. They're away or traveling, so that's fair enough. They don't actually have they're not in our time zone and ready internet access to burn on cruise ships. But
Yes, sir.
Needless to say, even with the regulars not on our show, our ratings are higher than what they normally are. So,
wow,
Mr. Stu, you sitting indoors or outdoors?
I'm outdoors in the cold.
Oh man, it's so cold.
It is. It's been snowing
cold
here.
Oh really? Oh
Yeah,
man.
He doesn't even need to puff on his cigar to blow smoke.
Yeah. I can do smoke rings without it.
James, are you doing it in the factory?
I am indeed.
Oh fuck! Fingers crossed for you, brother. I hope the lady doesn't screw you over again.
Yes, I had as many of our viewers would know, we moved out of the rental factory that we were in for many, many years, where I've been doing the show from, and we're in a much, much smaller factory that is now our own. But I had a little incident the other day. The smoke, very little, yeah. The smoke in our factory from me having a cigar somehow got into the neighboring factory, and the owner and his wife are both asthmatics, and it flared up their asthma. Of course they are. So,
Mr. Sue, that was a whole lot of lie bullshit.
Look, so I've got some interesting issues here at the moment. So we did purchase this warehouse after we cleared it with the lawyer that we weren't breaking any laws by doing this show. But also I do have to live with my neighbours, so I have to make sure I tread a fine line where I can do what I've got to do, and but not piss the neighbours off at the same time, because life's too short to have feuds with your neighbours on a regular basis.
100%. Very wise. You're a wise man, Dames. I think you made the right decision, brother. That's
so when you let them out of your coop.
Look, I have a couple of solutions up my sleeve. One of them is that all these units have what's known as a positive pressure ventilation system in it, and I've basically blocked up our positive pressure ventilation in our unit so that it doesn't force the smoke out of our unit.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that was the main cause of the problem. The other one that I'll be looking at is there is an exhaust fan in this unit as well, but it's as weak as piss. Like, I could probably blow smoke out harder and faster than the exhaust fan does its job. So I'm looking at supercharging the exhaust fan. You know, in the words of Tim the Toolman Taylor, more power. So I'll be getting myself the Binford 8800 exhaust fan motor.
Oh wow!
So,
James, did you tell the viewers about the cigar?
Mm-hmm.
Did you tell them about the? I was trying to listen to you, and the guy was not even listening to the screen.
But look, you got a fan.
He's
got a fan, Omar.
Tim and I go a long way back.
Dan says the tasting notes like burnt salted caramel.
I agree.
Yeah.
But did you tell him about the binder in the cigar?
No, I didn't tell him about the binder, but I'll let you address that now that you've brought it up.
What I'm trying to say is, the ratio between the binder, filler, and the wrapper is probably one of the most important thing that doesn't sort of get spoken about a lot. As you know that the wrapper is by far the most dominant aspect of a smoke. That determines sometimes how quickly it may burn, regardless of what the binder and fillers are. It also the aromas and the profile, often a lot of the aftertaste that we get. It's got and the quality of cigar is also determined by how good the wrapper is on that. So before I answer that, do you know if the trilogy we're going to do, are they from the same batch?
No.
They're not from the same batch.
No. So this particular cigar is from the batch of these exact same cigars that we smoked 2 years ago. Now, before you came on the show, I was working this out with Stu at the start of the show. There's at least 9 years and possibly as much as 10. So somewhere between 9 to 10 years of age on this particular cigar we're smoking tonight. But the next two I purchased about 3 or 4 months ago, direct from Perdomo.
Yeah.
And so that they would only have around about 7 years of age on those two.
And with these ones, they were just obviously they were sitting in your humidor for a while.
Absolutely, in my tender loving care.
And what do you think? Which year that would have been rolled?
Hang on. I believe they were rolled in 2015 or 2016.
20.
Somewhere between 2015 and 2016.
2015. Okay. So the reason I'm asking all these questions because to best of my knowledge, there's most of the tobacco, including the fillers, it comes from Nicaragua, from his state. It's not 100% pure, but primarily it's that. And Nicaraguan tobacco with the Connecticut wrapper probably aged the best compared to the Dominicans and some of the other fillers.
Yep.
That was the reason. I think as we spoke about with Toph, we went backwards and forward a few times, that a Connecticut cigar doesn't age as well as, for example, the Maduros or the natural. In saying that, I know that you age your cigars amongst all the Maduros and the darker wrappers, so just for them to have a proper profile. But in generally speaking, what I've noticed that the Nicaraguan tobacco probably aged the best with those wrappers. So it's a great blessing, particularly with the bourbon barrel. It's a great blessing that they use a lot of Nicaraguan filler in that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So what are your flavor notes you're picking up there, Omar?
I definitely agree with Daniel. He's got a beautiful palate as well. But I think I could still have some slight amount of, apart from the burntness, a little light spice that could be either cinnamon to ginger type of spice. And there's a mild, sweet, cedary nuance coming as well.
I'm also still getting a little bit of a sourness in mine. Not an unpleasant sourness, not off-putting. It is definitely harmonious, complementing. But it's just that very subtle sourness there.
Yeah, balanced. Yeah, it's almost like a watered down version of a citrus juice, but not lemon, but more like tangerines and those oranges, but very mild. So very mild.
It almost makes the cigar for me like juicy.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I know what you mean. What about Mr. Stu?
Yeah, I can pretty much agree with you guys. At first, I thought spice, definitely spice. They're supposed to be creamy and caramelly, and I'm sort of hoping to get a little bit more of that as we get a bit further in. But at the moment, I'm finding it sharp.
Okay. And what are you pairing your cigar with tonight?
Well, I did have a little bit of masala tea. That's just about gone.
What's the definition of masala tea?
It's basically used with cardamom.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
Traditional.
your cardamom, maybe a little bit of. It's almost like a chai,
Almost like a chai. Okay, gotcha.
but more towards the cardamom than your star anise and your cinnamon and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I figured something like that would be good to pair. And then of course I've got a little bit of whiskey, which I will have once I've finished the tea, and I've got an XPA as well.
Well, the very good thing is it won't freeze on you due to the alcohol content.
James, am I smoking too fast? I lied out when I was looking at you guys about 3-4 minutes into the show.
You're about the same as me.
Yeah. I think outdoors is burning a bit quick.
What I've just noticed while you were talking, when I lit up, I had a graham cracker note to it. It's turned into more like a cookie dough flavor for me in there as well. If that, that sort of that raw cookie dough flavor, I'm getting a little bit of that on the tail end of the flavor profile.
I reckon I got that at light up.
Yeah, probably lighter for me.
Like a buttered toast.
More for lighter. I agree. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Dan said that Sam is joining him tonight. So also, Sam, welcome to the show tonight. It's
Sam.
Very good that you're getting to enjoy the incredible Lavington Cigar Lounge.
Yeah. James, what are your thoughts on the amount of smoke? Nah, let's not pollute the show. Let's not do any pollution.
Not kill the ratings.
Yeah, it's a clean show. Work emergency, gotta run. Hey, Pete. So in terms of the smoke production, James, where do you see this? Where does that sit?
Mm-hmm. Well, the good thing I like about it, remember the last few shows, I've had a few cigars that I've had to do about a second or third puff before I get the smoke. This one, first puff getting smoke, so very happy with speed of smoke production. It's not the most smoky. I'm in a much smaller factory than I have been in the past. There's no real haze at the moment, so the smoke is, while it is quite a good and quick in production and a moderate amount, it doesn't hang around like what you expect on a Maduro smoke.
But for a Connecticut, it's smoky.
Yes.
For a Connecticut, it's very smoky.
But not at idle.
Yeah, not a lot. And I think you probably cooler. Your environment is a bit cooler than mine.
Yeah, I'm in a freezer.
Yeah, you would be, wouldn't you?
It's like an igloo.
So, Omar, I sent you a video, one of those, those 30-second shorts videos that people do on their iPhones. It's sort of rectangular, upright-shaped ones by Tim Swanson from Cigars Daily. Did you get to have a look at that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I pushed it on some magic. Huh? Sorry, you go.
So, welcome, John. Thanks for joining us. Hang on a sec. I'm a little bit confused. It says John Smith, but it says Dan T here, enjoying first cigar from my pack. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying this very first cigar of your first pack, and welcome to the show. We love having you. If you've got any questions whatsoever that you want to ask, anything that you're not sure about, just post the comment in, and we're here to do our best to answer. The whole concept of this show is to enjoy this cigar with each other, because cigars are meant to be enjoyed amongst fellow brothers of the leaf.
Yes,
it's the best way to enjoy a cigar. I do occasionally have a cigar by myself, but I always like to have a cigar in conversation with someone. It makes life more pleasurable, more fulfilled, and actually I think the cigars taste better when you're talking with someone, even if they're not having a cigar.
Yeah.
But just getting back to that Tim Swanson video he was posting about whether you should draw back on a cigar and smoke it as quick as possible, or whether you should slow down and take your time with it. And I'm definitely of the ballpark, slow down and take your time with it. A cigar is meant to be a time of reflection and enjoyment, and heaven knows the amount of tax we pay in this country. You want to bleed every single minute out of the thousands of dollars of tax that get paid on damn tobacco. But the main thing that he was driving home is that when you smoke the cigar hard and fast, you tend to burn the flavors, you drown them out, you mute them. And that if you want to get the most out of your cigar, get the most flavors, you sort of want to not suck on it too hard, just have a nice, gentle, consistent draw, and not puff from puff to puff to puff, sort of take, 10, 20, 30 seconds between draws just to allow that cigar to cool down. Did you want to wage in on that?
Yeah, James, I completely agree. And my challenge is mostly people say you smoke too slow. That's often comment I get. Like, I try to smoke them slow. And from the biology of it, or physics of it, whatever way you want to look at it, the slower you smoke, the more profile or more accurate profile you would get, because the cherry is not burnt. It's not burnt. That's number one. And I think on a philosophical level, generally, I said most people want to smoke a cigar is for relaxation and calm and peace and in a better headspace. And that usually only happens when you are taking it slow. And I think if you're smoking it fast, you're doing exactly opposite.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, I totally agree with you. I think that cigar. Also say, cigars are best enjoyed with like-minded, nice, level-headed people such as our current company.
Yeah, look, I've had plenty of good cigar when I've been away with work. And even though the guys that I've been with don't smoke cigars on occasions, they're happy to sit around and talk with me while I enjoy a cigar.
Yes.
And that makes the whole process just that more enjoyable, because you've got that time where you're particularly, not spending time doing work or trawling through social media. You're actually spending time connecting with people and actually talking with them and listening and asking questions and learning things and helping them to learn things and, pondering ideas and extrapolating things. And I think that's what's missing out of our lives these days.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Has there anything changed for you in the cigar?
Oh, let me just take another.
Getting perfect burn around it.
Yeah, it's almost
a little
perfect.
bit more creamy.
Look at this bad boy. It's just perfect.
That sourness has muted down a fair bit for me now. The dry caramel is not that dry burnt caramel anymore.
Yeah.
And it's got a bit more of a creaminess to the smoke.
Yeah. Stephen, that's a well, we are your friends. We like to think we are your friends, and you get to smoke at least with us at least once a month. And although we're not there physically, but we appreciate that you tune in and dial in. It's always appreciated.
Actually, I've got one friend, doesn't smoke cigars. He's actually got a policy of no smoking in his house, but I've often gone there and go out on the balcony to have a cigar. And on a few occasions when it's cold or wet, he says, stuff it, just sit inside the lounge by the fire and have it inside, which is quite nice. And and he, although he doesn't smoke cigars, just on the odd occasion, it's probably happened maybe 3 times over the last 5 years or more that I've been having cigars at his place. He'll go, oh, that one smells good. Do you mind if I just have one little puff? Give him my cigar. He just has one little puff. And he's like, oh, that's not bad. And I always offer him, would you like one? No, just wanted to see what the taste like that I was smelling, and that was just enough for him. But you know, he's a really, really good friend. You know, the fact that he lets me smoke in his house, but he doesn't let anyone else smoke anything else in his house. And
I have
he's just open to cigars like that. So it's and have some really good conversations with him.
I have to come out clean. Although at the beginning when I was going off at you guys, it was a joke, but it's about to turn into reality. If you say that one more time, that is your really, really, really good friend, I will blow your head off. Whether it's 357 or 44 Magnum, but I will blow that head off. So be careful what you say. This is very serious business. I thought I was
get more of an hour out of this one.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is the Epicure size. That's Perdomo's fancy name for a Toro. It's a 6x54 that we are smoking this evening. So judging by the rate of burn on this, we are definitely going to get over an hour, I think, on this cigar tonight.
Yes, indeed. I think it is. But look at the perfection for an outdoor, windy, cold night.
Oh, it's perfect.
Stu, you're cheating with some fire at the back.
Yes. I have to do something.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be
at least my arm's warm.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That leather note that I got not long after the lighter,
yeah,
that died down. I've definitely got that cedar note that you were talking about still there. There's almost a little bit of a I think it's like an almond, maybe a almond biscotti sort of note there.
If I would say a burnt almond that previously was the caramelized burnt caramel, I think the almond is more for charred, or when you put them on a pan to slightly roast it. So it's like a roasted burntness to that almond, yes. Or nuttiness, burnt nuttiness, I would say.
I mean, we're not even a third of the way through, and the number of flavor transitions that we've had in this cigar are actually quite amazing for a Connecticut cigar.
Yes.
There's a bingo word. Transition.
Yes.
Don't you have something to mention about that?
Oh yes. the host that ditched us, he's sent me a message telling me he won't be on the show tonight because he's busy getting in touch with his feminine side. He called it a day spa treatment that was going to last all day and into the night, but I know what that's code for.
10 minutes of spa.
That's right. It's the mankini waxing. Back crack and sack.
Maybe he's going to try and use that for his beard.
Well, possibly.
That's the only way he can get some.
It will be.
That's right.
Now, there has been...
I was just going to say, I'm a bit worried about the ash. I'm not sure how long it's going to hang on for.
Yeah, I'm going to almost...
You've slowed down.
Yeah, a little bit. It's still... Yeah. I might have to ash it because it's going to go everywhere.
That's what I'm worried about, yeah.
I might have to let Damo win this ash challenge because he's been fine.
Suck.
Allspice.
My cigar has gone sweeter a bit than it was originally. It's much more sweeter. It's much more milder. But it's definitely
settled
a transition.
Right down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Started off harsh-ish.
It's definitely settled down. And look, the very first cigar that I ever had in my life, I've shared this story a few times, but so I won't go into the full depth unless somebody asks me. But the gentleman that introduced me to cigars for the very first time never had a cigar, and he was very gracious. He cut it for me, showed me how you cut it, and he showed me how you toast it and light it, and then he got me to draw on it just to, while it was just that last stage of lighting. But the most important lesson he said to me, and I think this is something that we should all definitely keep in mind when we're trying to introduce people to cigars for the first time, he said to me, give it 5 to 10 minutes. If after that you don't like it, just set it down in the ashtray. Don't snub it out. Just sit it down, leave it, and nothing more will be said. And you know what? I finished that cigar till I was burning my lips and my fingers.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Wow.
He was very gracious, and I think that was a very wise thing, because initially, the first few puffs, I was sort of like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm good with this or anything. But then by the time I got to 5 to 10 minutes in and it settled down and everything, it was like, I'm really liking this, because I like the smoke flavor in food. I like, smoked meat, smoked cheeses, smoked sauces and things like that. And so, yeah, it was definitely up my alley. And the fact that as I was smoking through and getting these different flavor changes coming through on the cigar and surprising me, it was very intriguing and just lured me in. And there's been no looking back since then.
What did you do for your 10th birthday? So what are the viewers that have got the pack? What are they getting in flavors?
Yes. Well, Dan's chimed in. Any of the others who are smoking this cigar with us tonight want to make comment? Maybe you're having a burn issue with it, or maybe the environment that you're in is not helping with the burning of the cigar. Mr. Stu was quite concerned for tonight's show because of the absolute cold that he is outdoors in at the moment can severely affect the burning profile of the cigar. So not only the temperature affects how the cigar burns, but the temperature also drops the humidity, so the air becomes very dry. And so what tends to happen is the cigar tends to dry out quite quickly and not burn properly when you're trying to smoke it in those extreme conditions, or even if you're in a very humid environment, like say tropical Darwin or Queensland. I've actually had a cigar in tropical Darwin, and that high humidity level, the cigar wants to sort of partway through smoking swell up and split a bit because all that extra humidity that you're drawing through the cigar when you puff. So, and these are all things that you learn.
I've done a topher.
James, whereabouts are you?
I might be smoking mine a little bit quicker than you guys.
I think you're about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're in a spa or anything like that, quite often the cigars can swell up and explode. But John Smith there, alias for Dan, he seems to get away with it in his. And he's outside in the rain. What are you doing out in the rain, Dan?
Now, Mr. Stu, I got a bunch of questions for you when you're ready.
Okay.
How good is your concentration these days?
Depends on what it is I'm concentrating on.
Okay. Best and the worst case scenario.
Reasonable.
Reasonable. I think we can work with that. So I don't know how much concentration hat you had on. I mean, you have got a hat on. When Damo was relaying this story about his first cigar,
yep,
it almost, with the choice of words, syntax, delivery, relaying information, it reminded me of someone that used to work in a brothel, and they were explaining their first time of having to do the act.
Relations, yep.
Yeah. So it was very, very. I could draw a great parallel to that. The day he grabbed it and touched it and left it and held it and all of that, and with this smirk / smile, it was so. So then, what was the
Well,
actual?
you always remember your first.
Yeah,
Which bit you want me to concentrate on?
a whole lot. I wonder if you picked up on it or not.
Funny enough, no,
Oh.
not this time. Now, I say funny enough because normally, and most people that know me that are watching would be very surprised at that. But I was actually intrigued in the smoking story and not paralleling with anything. So you're on your own on this one.
Yeah, I am, and unfortunately, I think probably the reason is I've heard multiple Damo stories. So first with David, first with Steve Saka, first imagining Steve Saka, imagining Nick. So I've had multiple of those episodes, and unfortunately, wow,
You wandered.
yeah, I did indeed. I did indeed.
Look, Stephen looks like he might have found your OnlyFans video footage here that watching the other day, and a guy went into a sauna with a cigar. So,
Oh wow,
yeah, look, I know you take cigars absolutely everywhere, Omar. So
absolutely.
there we go.
Everywhere.
We know that you're taking them into the sauna with you as well now.
Yes,
Was that a metaphor?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that's right. He's not watching.
Have you noticed Dan likes to copy us? A lot of time. A bit. I wouldn't agree with bit. A lot of time. That's all we meant, remember?
I wouldn't even know what it looked like.
Yeah, same. Oh, wow.
That's a good time, Udo. Very good burn time.
Very good. Very good indeed.
Also, one of the things I've noticed too is when you have a cigar outside, they generally tend to burn just a tad quicker than when you have it indoors.
Absolutely.
So,
Is David Lionhelm in tonight? What's he experiencing?
Oh, wow.
Well, he's done it.
Yeah, fun everywhere.
Are you in a nana rug?
Nah, it's no rug, it's a jacket.
Oh.
the rug's hanging from his chin.
That's it. That's it.
Well, since I've won the Ash challenge, I'm going to
no, I think
with dignity put mine in the ashtray. Actually, look.
Speaking of ashtrays,
yes. Did you see the pickies that I put in the little letter that came out with the packs? The ashtrays they're in transit. I'm not sure when they will arrive. I still think they're probably about a week or two away from arriving. I'm given that they're not tobacco and they're not perishable. I've just basically opted for the cheapest freight service to get them into the country, which will obviously be the slowest freight service.
Speaking of slow freight service, I bought my humidor in February, and I've actually just first sighted it in a photo today. And I believe after much research and searching, we found it. And I believe at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, it'll be here, weighing at 115 kilograms. And very excited.
Big humidor.
Big humidor. Actually, I wonder if I can find a pic.
Is there much timber inside the humidor?
There's a fair bit on the outside at the moment.
So one of the things that you'll need to do with your brand new humidor is
Oh, wow.
make sure that you season it before you actually put any cigars in there.
So what they say apparently is to put the water in and let it run for a couple of hours. Is that kind of what you mean?
I would probably let it run for at least a couple of days before you actually put anything in it, just to let the humidity stabilize in there. Because I'm assuming it's got timber shelves inside.
It's all Spanish cedar shelves, and I think it's even lined with it as well.
Yep. So it will take a few days for that cedar to suck in moisture. And so the last thing you want to do with a brand new humidor is to put your cigars in and actually have the cedar sucking the moisture out of the cigars. So what you do is you put your humidity, whether it be water or Boveda packs or whatever, in the humidor, let it get up to stable humidity, and then once it's stabilized, then you can put your cigars in at that point, rather than risk drying the cigars out slightly.
I don't know what's worse, waiting bloody 4 months for it to turn up, or waiting another 3 days before I can use it.
Well, that's good to hear, Tony. Perdomo is one of the few companies that draw test every single cigar. There are others that are doing it, but there are also quite an awful lot of cigar companies that don't draw test every single cigar. They'll randomly test or test a few every box to ensure, random quality testing. But Perdomo draw tests every single cigar, and I think out of the I don't know how many Perdomos I've smoked over the years, but there'd probably be a few hundred. I've probably only had one Perdomo that let me down.
So when you say draw test, obviously we draw on a cigar to get the smoke out of it. Clearly that's not what you mean, because they've got a foot on it, and obviously for other hygiene reasons.
So before they put the wrapper on it, so what they'll do is the banchero will roll the filler tobacco and then put a binder on it, and they'll actually put it in a mold to press it to get the shape right before they put the outer wrapper on it. And then what they will do is they'll actually draw test at that point before they put the wrapper and cap it.
Yeah, right.
So if it doesn't draw properly at that point, it gets set aside on a pile, and then it gets disassembled, and the tobacco gets reassembled and re-rolled into a cigar.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure they use a machine to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they've basically got a machine with a gauge on it, and as it draws the air through, the gauge shows the amount of resistance from too much flow to fully blocked, and there's a point on there which they accept is the normal range that's acceptable.
Yeah.
And different manufacturers have different ranges of acceptance as well. You know, there are some guys out there that produce very easy drawing cigars, other guys out there that produce a slightly snugger draw, and that also comes down to the particular blend and the flavor profile that they're trying to get out of that cigar by changing how tight and how loose the roll is will determine how well it burns, the temperature at which it burns, and the flavors that you're getting out of the tobacco. So there's a lot of art and science into making a cigar and to getting the cigar tasting the way they want it to taste.
Yes, that's correct.
That's what I'm expecting.
That looks good.
Nice. What's the capacity of that humidor?
I think it's 1,200 cigars.
Wow.
I'll never be able to afford to fill it.
Unless you win lotto. Or they roll back tobacco taxes.
Yeah. You've got to justify it too, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I figure if I'll stock it with a bit, And then if each month when I'm getting the pack, I just get a few more and just slowly keep up with what I'm smoking maybe, and maybe a little bit more. So slowly over time, I might be able to stack it up, and then therefore I've got a variety and the ability to be able to age, providing you haven't already over-aged them.
Just don't let Omar there, otherwise
He was smoking green.
Dan has raised a very, very good question. The difference between a long fill and a short fill, absolutely. He's hit the nail right on the head. So, for those who don't know the difference between a long fill cigar and a short fill cigar, a long fill cigar is where they actually use the lengths of leaf rolled up into long, like tubes that they actually run the length of the cigar when they bind it. Every cigar is made over length, and they chop the cigar short. And then there's a lot of tobacco that accumulates when you're chopping an inch or two off the end of every cigar. And so, not wanting to waste that very good quality tobacco, they actually use those short pieces to make what's known as a short fill cigar. And so we've had some short fill cigars in the past, and they generally draw a lot easier because it's more like a shredded tobacco inside there instead of long, tightly rolled up tubes that you're drawing the air through. So generally speaking, it's less common to have a draw issue on a short fill cigar because they usually breathe quite easily.
Yeah.
The in the Cuban pack, the Quintero was one of the short fill cigars in that particular pack we had, and also the Nasty Fritas that we've had. That's a short fill cigar as well.
Yes.
It's also a short cigar.
Mm-hmm. That Nasty Fritas, from memory, I believe it's made from not all, but one of the ingredients of the short fill on that cigar is the cut-offs from the Liga Privada T52 cigars. Now, another little interesting rule of thumb. It's not a definitive rule. It doesn't always mean that this is the case. But when you smoke a cigar too slowly and the ash drops off, you'll actually end up with a divot inwards. Not always, but often you will. If you're smoking a cigar too quickly and the ash drops off, you'll end up with a little pointy cone coming outwards.
Like
and
that.
So, a little bit like that, yes. So when the ash drops, you want it to be it'll be a little bit wavy, but fairly flat, not sticking in or sticking out. That gives you a bit of an indicator of whether you've got the smoking speed right for that particular cigar. Now, I think I'm at the point where I'm going to take the band off before I smoke through it. Almost did that the other day, actually. I was enjoying a cigar so much I totally forgot about the band, and before I knew it, the burn line was just kissing the edge of the band.
Mm.
Now, one of the things that I do love about aging a cigar is the oils from the cigar do tend to soak into the band of the cigar, and they tend to just fall off very easily as a result, and don't tend to rip, which is quite nice. That's come off in an absolutely beautiful, undamaged single piece. Almost worth framing, that one.
Tim, who's watching, him and I were watching some videos and things from Americans doing these the ash challenge. They leave it on and smoke it all the way down with the band on.
Oh.
I reckon that'd be pretty harsh and horrible myself.
Yeah, horrible.
Burnt paper flavors? No,
yeah,
thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
They can afford to butt it out. I don't know why.
The other interesting thing is there are certain cigars that work better for the ash challenge. So you see certain cigars that get used more often than not, and that's generally because they'll often have a bit of stem in the cigar that runs the full length. And a lot of cigars don't have the stem in them because the stem's actually quite high in nicotine content. And most people who are smoking cigars are not interested in a nicotine hit. They're just interested in the enjoyment of the smoke and the flavor. And but yeah, you'll notice that the ones that often are winning ash competitions are ones that are the more stronger cigars with regards to nicotine strength.
Yeah.
Not that Omar knows what the nicotine taste is. Doesn't
No,
exist.
I do not. No, I do not.
What are you drinking tonight, Omar?
I got some cream and I put some black tea in it.
Back to your cream habit
with
again.
black tea. Okay.
I got some cream and I add some black tea to it.
Interesting.
A whole lot of cream with a little black tea?
Yeah.
Or a little bit of cream with a whole lot of black tea?
No. That's not
so
fine.
A cup of cream with a dash of tea.
That's it.
All you need is some blocks of butter now for snacks, and you're right.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, I've got a black Earl Grey. That's what I'm drinking tonight.
I love
It's
Earl
pairing
Greys.
quite nicely.
So no kombucha from anyone. That's a good sign.
Not tonight. I have got a sugar-free ginger ale there if I need something else other than my tea. But it's a pretty sizable mug of tea I've got here. So
It is.
It is.
I started out with a reasonable sized cup of tea. But I was also early to the show, so half it went before I started.
Cool.
maybe a little bit sweeter, getting towards the middle of the cigar compared to the light up.
It's in sweeter, but also that burnt, smoky note is pronounced as well.
Anything on the retro?
I get cedar.
Spice is definitely cinnamon.
Spice as well.
Yeah. Before it was, it was sort of like baked spice. There was that sort of gingery note there. Allspice, but it's gone more of a cinnamon like for me. I'd say that's sort of like that spiciness mixed with the sweetness that you normally get with a cinnamon flavor.
Can't even say that, Dan.
Is Sam joining you with that one, Dan? One of our regulars, David Lionhelm, he's not with us at the moment because he's on a overseas cruise.
He's on the one on the cruise. Okay.
Yeah.
Where did he go?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember. No, sorry. He's been on quite a few over the last 12 months, so I've sort of lost track of which one this is and where he's going.
So when they barrel age these,
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing? Taking the front off the barrel, stacking it up to the top, backing the lid back on? How are they doing it? Yeah.
Correct. So they use a used bourbon barrel, and they basically pack it full and put the lid on and let the cigar sit in that, or the tobacco sit in that bourbon barrel for however long they want. So with the Connecticut that we're smoking tonight, it's 8 months. The Sun Grown, which is next month's cigar, they do it for 10 months. And then I believe the Maduro is around 12 to 14 months that they do the Maduro with. As the cigar gets darker, it needs a little bit longer to be able to absorb that same flavor profile.
Still perfect burn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely perfect.
Burning perfectly, smoking perfectly. You know,
Well,
every
with a bit
time...
of luck, then you've given the one that falls apart to Topher.
Probably.
I've been really good at that lately.
Served him right for ditching the show.
Yeah. The last few times I've had cigars with him,
the next two cigars are bad ones as well. We'll wait and see.
I've been good at giving him the bad ones lately, so
well done. He deserves it.
Yeah.
You know, every time I get a cigar that's a bad cigar, it's not burning right, or it's tunneling, or it's just plugged and I can't seem to clear it out with the easy draw tool, I usually just get rid of it and pull out a Perdomo.
Oh, yeah. This thing is good.
Yep. And look, the easy draw tool is a fantastic tool, and it can definitely save a plug cigar. But the one downside with any plug cigar is, even when you do get it to burn by opening it up, you still never truly get the same flavor profile from that cigar that it was originally meant to give you, because you're still not evenly burning the tobacco as an even draw through all the leaves. You're sort of drawing through the holes that you've poked into it. So.
Yes. So right.
It's not even getting moist. It's great.
Yeah, we won't get Omar to show us his one. He usually slobbers all over the end.
Bum suck it.
So, have you? You've got a. Is it an Alga or an Essie stove in
Essie.
an Essie? And you, I'm guessing you've been running that pretty non-stop with the weather that has been coming in the last week or two?
Absolutely, and I've got some really good wood for it too. I've got some grey box, red box, and some iron bark. And
iron bark. Nice.
Yeah, it has never run so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, dry wood. It's burning hot. Got plenty of hot water coming out of it. The radiators are warm in all the rooms. Loving it. And I've got the open fire going as well. And because it's been too cold and wet to go out and cut wood, I've actually been what I call wasting it, putting it in the open fire as well. So the house is probably nice and toasty when I eventually go in there, if the kids are keeping the wood on it.
Nice.
They're playing games, so that tends to get forgotten.
Why is this wind? It's cold. Woo.
You ever run coal in your stove?
Yep, so I've got some coke and coal.
Yep.
I'm actually running it in my fire. Most of my wood's gone, and it's just the coal that's glowing red at the moment, giving off a bit of heat. But yeah, I chuck a little bit of that in every now and then, mainly at the bottom, just to try and keep those coals going at the base.
Yep.
And then just keep topping it up with wood, and every now and then just keep topping it up with a bit of the coke.
Yeah, I don't. I've got a Morso brand slow combustion fireplace in our house, and it's designed as a multi-fuel stove, and that means it can burn coal, coke, peat, and wood. but it's designed primarily to be a wood burner, and the other fuels is more of a emergency stopgap if you're caught short. But one of the things that I do tend to use coke and coal for is on those really, really cold days, because I find that when I burn coal, the unit's rated at about 6 kilowatts of equivalent heat output when it's burning wood. But when I put coal in it, I reckon that easily jumps to 10 to 12 kilowatts, because it gets so hot that you're sort of moving away from it when it's running coal.
I've actually burnt the grill out in the bottom of mine, the grate.
Yep.
So with me pig here, I've got an open grill that fits on over the top, so you can do open grill cooking and stuff on it. And somehow it managed to break in half. So I've got the two halves in the bottom of the Essie to give me a makeshift grill for the moment.
Yep.
But I was burning.
The only downside with burning coal and coke is that you do tend to burn through your grate and your fire bricks quicker.
Although I think I did most of mine, because a lot of the wood I had might have been, some of it might have been a little bit on the green side. I was burning the yellow box, I think they call it, or the white iron bark. And a lot of it was real big, so I had to keep the door open to keep that draft in, to keep it going. Otherwise, it kept going out and wasn't getting hot enough. So I think by doing that, also did a bit of damage to it. Yeah, I've had about 10 years now, so.
My understanding is, and I could be wrong on this, that a wood fire has a theoretical maximum temperature of around about 800 to 900 degrees centigrade. But a coal coke fire can easily get up to the temperature of melting steel, which is probably more around about 1500 degrees. Well, that's why they use it for smelting steel.
Yeah. So I've just noticed mine starting to get a little awkward in the burn. I don't think it's bad enough to touch up just yet. You can see it's still glowing in there, doing its job.
Yep. Well, we're over an hour in on this already.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are we, about halfway?
A little more.
I'm a bit past halfway. I think just hit the final third.
I reckon I've got a little bit to go. I've slowed down a bit.
Dan's suggesting it's user error.
Yeah. That's quite clear, isn't it? Simple as that.
Sitting in his nice warm shed with his pretty surroundings.
Yeah. And the heater going, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
My fire's burning, but I'm definitely not hot.
There's no fire here. It's about 2 degrees, and it's. Whew.
The rain stopped, so that's good. I thought just as the show started, the hail started coming down, and on my polycarbonate roof, I'm thinking it's going to be that noisy. You're going to have to shut me up, which is probably a good thing anyway.
It's actually quite windy in Sydney at the moment. Is it windy down where you are, Stu?
We've had it. So there's been trees and branches down. I've got a branch down in the tennis court that I need to attend to. No damage, but things are laying over where they weren't before. So it's been quite windy. No, off the shoe fits, I suppose.
What about the cigar, boys?
It's quite pleasant at the moment, isn't it?
There's another brighter note that's just starting to come in for me. Maybe a little bit aniseed, fennel sort of note, maybe.
Fennel.
Mm.
Not sure about aniseed, but definitely very fennel. When you chew on fennel, that's the note. Exactly is the note. Very fennel-like. Obviously, there's a bit of sweetness into it too, and the
Fennel, you should
smokiness.
say that.
I got a few of these in my personal collection. And as I've mentioned in the past, I like to cross-pollinate the flavors of my cigar. So I like to alternate my cigars, Connecticut sun-grown Maduro, Connecticut sun-grown Maduro in my humidor to try and, as the cigars age, to sort of get a more unique flavor profile coming through.
Yeah.
And I've actually got all three of these in the Robusto size. And I think I purchased those around about 2018, 2019.
Gotcha.
So it'll be interesting to drag one of those out and do a comparison at some point in the next few weeks to see.
That's going to be a bit of an art form
compares.
with my humidor, isn't it? So I think I was reading up that the ones at the top can get more of the humidity than the ones down the bottom. I think mine has a drawer down the bottom for drying out, for like dry boxing. It does have a whole heap of fans and stuff all the way through the back of it. It's refrigerated, constant temperature drop. I think it about a 2 or 3 degree variance between cutting in and cutting out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting learning where to put things for what reason in that.
Well, the good thing with your shelves is because you're generally not stacking the cigars all the way to the touching the underside of the shelf, so you end up with air coming between the shelves. And because the shelves in that look like they were, which they should be actually a slotted shelf, you'll get air and humidity coming in from the underside as well as the top side. So in a humidor that like what you've got, that will be less of an issue. Whereas the humidor that I've got, every couple of times a year, I end up pulling all the cigars out and circulating around the bottom ones to the top, or just mix them around a little bit. One's in the middle to the bottom, and bottom to the top, and top to the middle, and just keep moving them around just to try and keep that even humidification and even aging process.
The price of cigars and the size of the humidor, I don't know that there's going to be much stacking going on.
Generally, too, that's often the case with the box style humidors, because the humidity pack is usually in one location, and so wherever the cigars are, and usually on a lot of them that's in the lid, you open up the lid and the humidity pack's mounted on the top like it is in mine. So humidity comes from the top and seeps down.
Yep. Yeah, so I've got to put a distilled water or something in there, don't I? Is it distilled or is it pure, or do I
either
put colloidal
distilled or
silver or something in it?
deionized. Either or would be fine. But yeah, distilled or deionized is what you want to put in there.
So the same water that you would put in a battery if you wanted to be particular.
Correct. Yep. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, it's got no other contaminants in it that could impart off flavors like chlorine or things like that that are in the tap water. And also the total lack of any sort of nutrient mineral content will also help inhibit the growth of any biological material in it as well.
Sort of bacteria and stuff.
Yeah. one of the things that you can possibly do to speed up the humidification process of your humidor, which is what I've done with my timber humidors when I get them, is using a brand new, clean, sterile chuck swipe. Just dip it in some distilled water, wring it out so that it's not dripping wet but not bone dry, and just enough that you can wipe over all the timber surfaces, so that just leaves a dampness on the surface of the timber, and all the timber top and bottom and sides. Just give it all a wipe over with that.
Yeah,
and that will help get a bit of moisture into the timber quicker. That will help get the humidor humidified quicker for you.
I have seen some mixed opinions on that. Some people carry on, go, no, don't do that. But then again, you know, were they talking about being careful, or were they talking about soaking them? I don't know.
Don't soak it. Just wipe it. Just give it a one wipe down. Put the humidity reservoir with the water in it, and let it sit, and that will speed up the time taken. I've actually got some 85% Boveda packs, and I use them specifically for quickly getting the humidity up to spec on my humidor. So what I generally tend to do is I wipe the humidor down. I put one of those 85% relative humidity packs in, let it sit for about 3 days. Then I put a hygrometer in it, get a reading. Usually at that point it's sitting in the high 70s, low 80s. I'll let the lid open for maybe half an hour to an hour to just let a bit of that humidity come out. Then I'll put the humidity pack that I want to use in there, which I run 65% Boveda packs, and then wait for the humidity to hit somewhere in the 65 to 70 range, and then put my cigars in at that point.
Yep. I've got a 72 Boveda pillow. It's quite big, about the size of my phone. Should I just chuck something like that in it while I'm christening it, so to speak?
I probably wouldn't, particularly with the one that you've got, if it's got a dedicated humidification system in it, because either the system will be fighting each other.
Yep.
So when you're using Boveda packs, interesting thing, if you've got different rating humidity packs in your humidor, the ones with the high humidity will be giving off the humidity, and the ones with the lower ones will be absorbing it. And funnily enough, when I've had some 85% packs that I don't want to use for humidifying humidors anymore, I'll put them in a Ziploc bag or a Tupper box with some 65s that are dried out.
Yep.
And just leave them and forget about it. Then, I come back to it a few months later, and the 85 shrunk down to almost dry, and the 65s have absorbed the humidity and swelled up again, and then I get to use them again.
That's what I'm using it for at the moment. I've put all my dead ones in that are like biscuits, and just put them in a Ziploc bag and thrown it aside for the moment. Might not need them anymore.
They're always good to have. I always recommend people keep the Ziploc bags that we provide with the packs, and when we ship out cigars, keep a stockpile of your little Boveda packs, and if you ever want to go somewhere and take some cigars with you, put them in that and travel with them in that. Sometimes you might want to give a cigar away to somebody, and it's always good to put them in especially if it's somebody who's not a seasoned cigar smoker and doesn't have all the equipment. That way they've got something that will keep their cigar good for the best part of six months or more.
And
the packs that we supply are 8-gram packs. A lot of people actually supply the 4-gram packs with the when they're shipping cigars. But my experience has been that when we started off, the Cigar Professor in the early days, we were doing 13 cigar packs, and we did a bit of experimenting, and we found that the 4 grams were just not enough to keep the 13 cigars well humidified for the 13 weeks that we used to go through those cigars at. So we started using 8-gram packs, and I just really like the 8-gram packs. I think it's better to, provide you with something that's going to have a bit of use beyond just shipping it from us to you.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon I've got all my zip bags that I've got from you. Did you want me to pack them all up and send them up to you so you can reuse them, or?
No, that's fine. We buy the those bags in bundles of 200. So good evening, Simon. I think this might be your first comment of the evening. Glad you could join us. Are you joining us with the same stick tonight, Simon? Or are you smoking something different tonight?
Jim's gone quiet too. He must have gone to bed.
Yeah, he's going real quiet.
Well, I'm glad you could join in. I'm sorry that it's been so long between cigars, but what a cigar to get back on the habit with.
I know.
Yeah. Is it really a habit, though? I mean, it is for Omar.
I don't know if it's the habit. I call it my instinct.
Because habit's sort of something that you can't do without, isn't it?
Nah, look. Yes or no, Stewie? I can certainly say that. I mean, shits and giggles aside, I can certainly say that I have gone through sometimes a day or sometime two without having a cigar. For me, it's quite rare. And that really comes from the whole mindset about cigars. If I'm not feeling the best, not biologically, but you're not in a mood, so to speak, I would
That
choose
was what I
not
was
to.
talking about. A little bit. I'm smoked a little bit faster now, and it's got a little
Yeah.
bit of a.
I've got to catch up.
I think Stu's gone extremely slow.
Yeah.
Oh, he's enjoying it.
That's good.
That's the main thing. Other than that, he's just freezing up.
Remember when I first started? I reckon I wouldn't even be halfway yet.
Yeah. Which is good. He's getting there, Simon. That's all right.
Yeah. Catching up to Omar.
Mm. Boys, it's a little bit chilly. Its wind is blowing hard.
I've just started to get the rain back a little bit.
Crikey. Well, we're not going to hang around till you finish all yours, Dan.
Nah, no chance. Danny's a bit boring for us.
Is Sam having a cigar, or is he just sitting in?
Yeah.
I hope he's having the cigar that's in this pack with us, enjoying it alongside. The since the ash dropped, a little bit of a spicy pepper notes kicked up. There's also a little bit of a musk note in there as well for me at the moment.
Musk.
Just very, very subtle, just slight musk on the finish.
You mean like a musk stick type musk, or a different type of musk?
Yeah, like a musk stick. Yeah, just that sweetness and.
I must say 15 is good. I think 15 to 21 is beautiful a week. 15 to 21. I like that.
What's that, 2 a day?
Yeah, 2 to 3 a day.
3 a day. Wow.
Oh, look at this. They're doing an Omar. Dan and Sam are doing an Omar, having a pre-show stick. Hey, you weren't smoking a cigar when you came onto the show, Omar.
Dude,
You're losing it.
Huh?
You're losing it. You normally come onto the show already smoking.
What happened, I was obviously had a cigar, finishing off. I was a little one. And had a bite to eat. And then I start hearing you guys. So I quickly sat up and I said, oh, these guys are on.
I even had a pre-show. It was very pre. It was earlier on. I was having a chat to my mum, who's actually watching tonight. And I thought, so I had one of those little acid gold cigars.
Oh, yeah.
Which I quite like. You know, you can get that really sweet, it's almost like a sweet crystal or something on the tongue, just from, I really enjoy it.
Very popular in America.
Yeah, right.
Very popular.
Unfortunately, not a cigar that is allowed to be sold anymore in this country, thanks to our illustrious leader changing the rules.
I won't explain where I got it from then.
No.
It's old stock.
It's all fair for old stock.
The interesting thing with acid cigars is that I have watched interviews with the guys that produce those cigars, and they technically say that it's not an infused cigar because the tobacco is aged in a room where the botanicals are in the room as well.
Okay.
So they're not actually putting the botanicals in to the tobacco, but the ambience of the botanicals in the aging room infuse the tobacco is what I'm led to believe that they're doing. They're very secretive and protective of what they do exactly, because obviously they've got a unique product that's very, very well received in America, and they don't want anyone else, taking that away from them. But unlike a traditional infused cigar, say like the Nub Cafe series, which are the Nub cigars that have been infused with coffee flavors, they actually physically put the coffee flavoring into the tobacco itself that's in the cigar. But with what acid do is they actually allow the natural ambient. So when you might have something that's in a room that's got something else that's got a strong smell to it, and that smell sort of imparts itself onto the jumper or your hat or whatever it might be. It's the same sort of idea that they do. So I would almost argue that technically it's not an infused cigar because they're not doing infusing as such. It's just that the tobacco happens to be in a room that has a certain fragrance that the tobacco absorbs naturally.
I'm surprised they don't put them in a room full of hemp.
Imagine that.
Funny you should say that. There are, in America, you can actually get hemp cigars where it's actually a mixture of tobacco and hemp rolled into the one cigar, but I'd hate to think how much hemp's in it and the effects when you get through a whole bloody cigar of it, I can tell you.
I've been to America. When you're walking down the street, I think it's only hemp.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably some of those as well, but I did see some hemp tobacco cigars on the market a few years back.
Yeah, right.
Not sure if the greatest mix, but yeah, each to their own, I guess.
Swisher sweets. So when you're talking about the botanicals, what botanicals are they actually putting it with, acid?
They don't actually say. My understanding is it's basically floral and herbs. So basically different plants to get the flavor profile that they're after.
Very sweet.
So the sweetness in the cigars is actually a sweetened glue. They actually put a sweetener in the glue that they actually glue the cap on the cigar with. That's where you get the.
Yeah, you can when you're touching it on your lips, or if you put your tongue on it or something, it's very sweet.
Yeah.
Steve Saka was accused of using sweetened glue on his brulee cigars, I believe it was. But he's actually developed a technique of fermentation that imparts that sweetness into the tobacco itself naturally. And I remember he released a pack of cigars that I think it was like 5 cigars, and it randomly had a couple of them that had been sweetened, and and the rest of them hadn't been sweetened. And basically he sent them out, and people had to smoke them and had to pick which ones were sweetened and which ones were not. And generally speaking, the vast majority of people couldn't pick the difference between the two.
Yeah.
So
I noticed at Idle, this is getting quite a lot more smoke coming off it than what it did before.
All right. I'm almost at the business end of this thing.
It's like a reverse cigar. Like, it started out what I would consider harsh, and it's mild itself all the way down, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly. I think whereabouts you are particularly, but I think where I am, it's going back to its original start almost.
Okay. Yeah, you and Damo are about the same.
I think Omar's just a tad ahead of me. Just trying to get it in a spot where people can see it.
Yeah. I think because I'm so cold and I'm like, oh.
Omar's trying to get warm from the warmth drawing through the cigar.
Yeah. It's definitely an hour and a half smoke for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Well,
for,
Udo said that he got an hour 25, but he was smoking outdoors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And, Omar's smoking outdoors, so.
Yep.
I'm kind of outdoors.
So Omar's at about an hour 20. I'd say Omar's at about an hour 25 now.
That's right. That's exactly right. I think if it's indoor and if I wasn't hurrying up in the last part because of cold, I think you could do an hour 40 on that very easily. You can push it to 2 hours if you can, but certainly an hour and 40, it's quite easy.
Sounds like Dan and Sam are on that radar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if Sam is. Dan definitely would be.
Yeah.
I think he was too sick last month to join us, so.
Oh, that's right. Well, the JD has gone down all right, probably at the lower end of the whiskies. But
That's good.
It does say that that a good Scotch and or a bourbon is a perfect match for pairing with these, and yeah, I reckon that's probably not too far off.
And that would make sense given the fact that the flavour profile that they've tried to impart into this tobacco is the bourbon from bourbon barrels.
Yeah,
that too.
So it will be very interesting as we get through the next couple of months to see what the flavour profile change is based solely on the wrapper change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should slightly get stronger, shouldn't it?
And we should see some difference. So, generally speaking, and this is not always the way, there's sort of general rules of thumb, but there's always exceptions to the rule. But generally speaking, your Connecticut's are the lighter, softer, gentler smokes. The sun-growns tend to be a little bit more spicy and brighter in their flavour profile. And then you get into the Maduros, which are the heavier, oilier flavors. And I often find that Maduros have got some nice sweetness in them as well, from the natural sugars in the fermentation process that they use for the Maduro wrappers. Generally, fine Maduro wrappers are a little bit more thicker and toothier, have a bit more texture to the actual wrapper itself, and because of the thickness of the leaf, it contains more little compartment cells with that oil in it. That's so right. You tend to get bolder flavors coming through on a Maduro cigar as well.
Yeah, definitely more bolder. Very good, Dames. I'm struggling to hold it.
Spike it.
The spiking. All right, I'm quite far away.
Look pretty.
Huh?
You're just gonna have to sit there and look pretty.
Yeah.
Just think, it's only going to get colder with each month too.
Yeah, I need to move to garage at some point.
Put a door on it.
You're still able to got your set up in the garage to use for your cigars, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna clean it up a bit messy. Better work it out.
Because we haven't seen you in your garage for quite some time.
Yeah.
Where are the ducks? There's no ducks.
Gotta make it happen. Next year should be in there.
Did you ever get that wall of boxes in the garage that you were talking about? The cigar boxes up on the wall?
Yeah, you remember one wall I did? I need to do the second one.
Okay.
You know how hard it is, Sam, to get there and do the wall?
You know what you should do is you should take, because Sam wants he loaned us a camera to use for Whiskey Pete's wedding, and it's currently with Omar at Omar's work to be picked up, but I reckon Omar should take it to his home and tell Sam he's got to pick it up from your home, and while he's here he can do the cigar wall for you, the cigar box wall for you.
That's it. That's the idea. Lucky man.
I haven't got my gas heater on here at the moment, but I've got one of my kerosene Aladdin lamps running about a meter away from me, and they put out about 1,200 watts of heat, so it's just enough to take the chill off the air.
And a nice aroma.
No, I use because I'm, my background's in the special effects industry, in theatrical stuff, like for when they'd use, lit torches or burn and flame effects in theatre, they tend to use specialty, highly refined hydrocarbons that don't impart smell, because they don't want, theatres and venues, studios smelling like kerosene. And there's various different ones we use for different applications, and because I've got a knowledge of these products, and also I end up with a surplus of these products, sometimes you'll get a job and it's, they estimate that they want to use 200 litres over the course of the production, and you always overestimate these things because these chemicals aren't things that you can just go down to Bunnings and buy. They've got to be specially ordered in. So you'll get 200 litres for a production. At the end of the production, you might end up with, 15, 20 litres left over. And so I run those in my lamps. And the only smell that I can say that it's got is, the smell when you go to a dry cleaner's?
Oh, yeah.
That slight dry cleaning smell. Very, very faint. It's like if you've bought some clean clothes home from the dry cleaners, that sort not at the dry cleaners, but that sort of faint smell you have on the clothes, that's pretty much what it smells like. Because dry cleaners use highly refined solvents as well, because obviously you don't want to take your clothes home and have them smell like lighter fluid or petrol or kerosene. So,
Nah.
Yeah. Well, it's still got great smoke output.
Yeah, it's got a lot of
Still got
smoke.
great flavour, and I'm not quite up yet. But I would say I'm about an hour 30 in on this one myself.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit over an hour 30.
Yeah, certainly over an hour 30 for you.
Just starting to get to the point where I'm starting to feel the heat on the tongue and the lips.
Yeah.
I'm only a little bit behind you.
Yeah, you're not too far off.
Not too far. I'm guessing Daniel's probably just hitting his final third. Yeah. Funny, his message just came through. Literally as I was saying it. Daniel, is Sam traveling at the same speed as you with this cigar, or is he more on par with us at the moment? One of the things I did do a couple of times when I hit the final third was to purge my cigar, or as Omar calls it, bellowing. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's just a couple of times through the cigar. You just actually just blow air through the cigar, just to clear out the stale buildup of smoke in the leaf, and also it helps correct burns too. Often I'll use that as a technique for trying to get the burn to self-correct. So it will actually heat the cherry up a bit hotter than what it is when you draw back on it, but you're not actually drawing those hotter burn flavors through the cigar. You're sort of blowing them out of the cigar through the ash.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Sam is done. So he's up there with you, Omar.
Yeah, he's smoking a normal pace.
Actually, when we did the herf, I think he hooked it in then too.
That seems like forever ago now, doesn't it?
Where were you, Omar?
That's not a good story.
All right.
I missed it. I really did. When are we doing the next one?
Well, that's a good question, and I guess the other question would be too is where we're going to do the next one. I think that Albury was an absolutely gorgeous, fantastic venue. I definitely look forward to having more cigars there, without a doubt. But I do wonder whether in a capital city would actually be more accessible for some of our more distant viewers. Whether we had something, say, in Sydney, for instance, there's a couple of new cigar lounges that have opened up in Sydney.
Yeah.
And maybe we could look at having a herf at one of those.
Try that out. Private room?
I don't know. I personally haven't been to them, but one of the venues did offer us use of their facility, and I don't think they've got a private room, but they said that they could probably designate an area for us if we decided to have it there.
That'd be good for onlookers, I suppose, that are coming in to the lounge as well, that can sort of just watch something different coming in. And I wonder whether or not you could have the owner or somebody like that would, I don't know, give off, like a special guest or something like that.
So, Stephen, you said that you're keen to have another live herf at some point. Would Sydney be a city that you would be able to come to and attend a live herf at? And everybody else who's watching, is Sydney a location that would work for you? Because we've done Albury, we have done one in Sydney a while back at that that pub.
Yeah.
That Aaron found for us. Okay, good suggestion. We did have a venue that we could have used over at Manly, but that guy sold the venue, unfortunately, so that won't be an option for us anymore.
I'm currently working with a cafe. They have a shisha bar at night, but they're making a private room. It's quite an exclusive place.
This sounds like what we want.
Yeah, so they open till about 10 p.m. every night. They can stretch it out to midnight. So I can organize that one. It's in Civil Water. It's more central.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that far for us. Let's go North Shore.
Yep.
Very good food. They don't use any seed oils, cook in tallow and ghee, most of their food.
So we could do like dinner and then cigar show after it.
Yeah. So the owner want me to help him out with the cigars. So that's one of the options, I guess.
What's a shisha bar?
Shisha as in, the shisha thing, whatever you call that. Hookah bars.
Hookah.
The smoky thing, smoky pipes.
Oh, of course. Yep.
But as I said, they
stick the cigar in and we all grab a tube, yeah?
Now he's so there's a private room. So
strippers.
Yeah. So
well, look, if Topher comes with his transition,
I knew you were going to say that. With his new improved Brazilian look, yay!
Yep.
Yeah. I think with the Civil Water, the parking is fairly easy. There's no issue with parking. And food is really good.
Food's important.
Yeah, food is important.
Speaking of food, we had quite a spread, which you missed out on, Omar.
I know.
At Topher's, Topher went and got his usual, sliced up bits of lamb and stuff, and Tim and I butchered a sheep, and
nice.
I took a whole heap of that up, and I cut that up. We stuck that on there as well, and we had a couple of different varieties of lamb on the spit. It was good. I didn't get a deer, unfortunately, but there's always next time.
Yeah, always the next time, of course.
Yeah.
I think one we did in Crown City, that was really nice in Melbourne too. A few years.
That was a beautiful venue.
Really yeah.
Well,
that would have been 4 years
I've just
ago.
got the point. The cigar's just turning on me now. So I'm going to put it down and say thank you to that cigar right now. So I reckon for me that was about an hour 40.
Yeah.
Good
I
smoke.
would say so. Yeah.
Very good smoke.
Mine's just started to, I don't know if you can see, it's just started to let go a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I'm squeezing it or what the story is, but yeah, it's...
Look, I also think that's got to do with humidity coming out of your skin and going into the cigar as well, because you tend to hold it around that spot and it's in your mouth and the humidity from your mouth as well. So
yeah. Very natural for it to happen.
And also, let's get one thing straight. All these cigar manufacturers that make cigars that we enjoy never really intend for people to be smoking them down as far as we do, but due to the exorbitant cost of tax on our tobacco, we want to make sure that we get every last cent out of that cigar.
Yeah.
Well, what a incredible cigar to have kicked off this next pack. I'm really looking forward to the next few cigars in this pack. So everybody is watching tonight. The next two shows will be the last Wednesday of next month and the last Wednesday of the month after. Same place, same time. And thank you very much for everybody who has joined us this evening. We've appreciated your company greatly and hope that you can join us in the next two cigars of this pack. But other than that,
the Topher are joining.
Well, maybe he won't. Look, we've had better ratings on this show without him, so maybe it's better that he doesn't join us, So,
yeah.
So anyway, we'll let the numbers dictate whether we invite him back again after next time he comes.
For sure.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and hopefully we can all get together again next month and enjoy the next cigar and see where that takes us.
That's it.
Thanks for the invite. It's been good to be here.
Thank you for coming. All right,
Cheers.
everybody, thank you, and we'll see you next month.